Even if you are a gamer, when you hear the sentence, "I only listen to video game music," it might be really hard to understand why. As someone who's primarily listened to video game music for most of my life, but has branched out since, I would like to talk about why I think this is so popular. But I have more than just my own personal experiences. I also have Audio-Technica M50Xs, so my opinion on music is objectively correct. I think there are several good reasons why a gamer would be more interested in video game music as opposed to non-video game music or mainstream music. The first and most obvious is that video game music is actually good. This doesn't really have to be stated, but of course video game music is actually good. It's why we're here talking about it today, and it's why so many people listen to it. But how do I believe that it's good? Well, I think it's good because popular video game music is, most of the time, made or composed by musicians. Yoko Shimomura, the composer of many games including Kingdom Hearts and Street Fighter II, graduated from the Osaka College of Music. Companies like Remedy hire real-world artists to create in-game music. This is the real band Poets of the Fall. But within Alan Wake and Control, they're the old gods of Asgard. Florence Welch, of Florence the Machine, made music for Final Fantasy XV, most notably a cover of Stand By Me, which played during the game's intro. She stated she was inspired to work with Final Fantasy once she was exposed to video game music.
And you probably already know that Michael Jackson also worked on Sonic. But these are just a few examples to show you that people who make video game music actually know what they're doing.
Despite the fact that I own M50Xs, I'm actually not a music expert. That was just a joke. So I won't and I can't explain why people think each particular song is good or bad. Instead, you could watch a channel like Music Theory for Gamers and they will explain to you why these things sound good through a lens of music theory.
And then restarts, and so we have these descending figures at the end of each section's baseline.
Another reason why I think gamers might only gravitate to video game music is because it's so diverse. Video games have evolved past the time of simplified tunes that are forced to fit on a tiny cartridge. Now our games are unfortunately hundreds of gigabytes in size instead, but on the bright side, that means unlimited room for as much music as possible. The Persona 5 soundtrack on Spotify consists of 110 songs. It clocks in at a whopping 3 hours and 45 minutes. Video game music isn't a genre of music, it's a medium that music exists in. Every popular genre of music exists within video game music. Rock, rap, pop, country, classical, chill, lo-fi beats, and study to all of it. Songs like this exist in video games just like songs like this. Even if you just play one singular game, there's probably going to be a wide variety of music thrown your way. This is because video games are diverse in and of themselves. Music in a death scene probably shouldn't sound the same as music in a love scene or a battle theme. Most video games are so long nowadays. That usually means there's a ton of different music that must accompany a ton of different scenarios. One of my favorite games of all time is Catherine. One reason it's one of my favorite is because I think it has very good diverse music. Let me show you some of the songs that all exist within this one game. If you're listening to non-video game music, it may be hard to expose yourself to as many genres in an organic or digestible way. It's just like going to a restaurant with a 1,000-page menu in a different language. To determine what you like, you have to order each entree and try it out one by one. It might take a long time before you find something you really like. When we play games, we're given abundance of different sounding music. Even if you don't like the vast majority of the music in the game, you are likely going to be exposed to at least one thing that you like. It's like a sampling platter. Instead of ordering each entree to figure out what you like and dislike one by one, video games give you a curated sampling platter of many types of different music at once. Chances are you liked at least one thing from that platter. In both the 1000 entree scenario and the sampling platter scenario, it's possible to find the type of music you like. I just think the video game platter option is much quicker, more efficient, and one of the reasons people end up gravitating towards video game music. Another reason I think gamers may favor video game music over non-video game music is because video game music exists within a context that the listener already enjoys. Since the player already enjoys the game or something about the game, it is easy to consciously or subconsciously associate that song with the game that you like. If I play just 3 seconds of this song, there's definitely going to be a game that you think of, and there's definitely going to be a character that you think of, and that's at the bare minimum. There's a good chance that if you like video game music, a lot of that music will come from games that you liked. And when you play those songs, you think about things you like about the game. Sometimes a game may directly elevate a song. I like Jump Up Superstar. I think it's a pretty good song, but there is no doubt that it's elevated by the gameplay. The entire stage is a festival that pays homage to Donkey Kong. Pauline sings the song herself with her band. Even when I hear this song outside of its original context, I still think about how cool that stage was. When you're listening to non-video game music, this pairing obviously doesn't exist in the same extent. Of course, non-video game music can also create a context where you can tell stories within the song, but comparatively, it may feel like the context of a song is either too generalized or non-existent. It's incredibly hard for a song to tell an in-depth, entertaining story since songs are usually too short to do so, and talking your ear off isn't the main priority for most songs. The song may tell you about how the artist fell in love with the girl at the rock show, but since this song is too short, it's hard to tell you much more. Of course, there are great songs that can tell stories, and my favorite is when an entire album is dedicated to telling you a story because it has enough room to. My favorite album is Igor for exactly this reason. Without spoiling too much, it's about a man stuck inside a love triangle. I think every single song on the album is good, but it's elevated because I'm aware of the original context that each song exists in. Each song builds upon the next and builds upon the story. But for new listeners or people who only listen to video game music, it's going to be a little bit harder to be exposed to this because someone who's new to music isn't going to sit down and listen to a 40-minute album. Again, there's nothing wrong with music that doesn't sit you down and give you a novella, but I think that's one of the reasons why gamers, on a surface level, don't find non-video game music as engaging. Another reason why I think gamers might like video game music more than non-video game music is the listening experience. When you're listening to video game music, at least for the first time, you are probably listening to the song within the game. You're having multiple senses challenged while you're listening to the song, you're interacting with the game as you are listening to the music. This creates an engaging environment, in my opinion makes the music very easy to listen to. There are very few games that I could just mute and listen to non-video game music. When I'm trying to find new non-video game music, I have to dedicate almost all of my brain power and really pay attention to it. Maybe because it's more lyrical, or maybe it's because I have to listen to it a couple times before I know if I really like it. I don't know, but for me, it's like physically harder to expose myself to non-video game music because it doesn't exist in the hobby that I enjoy. It takes a much more dedicated effort to find non-video game songs and non-video game music that I enjoy because I have to take time out of my day to go searching for it. And that kind of leads us to the last reason that I think, a gamer might be more interested in video game music: exposure. It goes without saying that someone who plays a ton of video games will be exposed to a ton of video game music. Being a fan of video games also means that you're probably exposed to video game music even outside of gaming, especially on YouTube, the place you're probably watching this right now. Unlike most non-video game music, game companies usually aren't as harsh when it comes to copyright striking music. Therefore, people use video game music all the time in their vlogs, commentary videos, desk setup, house tours, everything. There was that 4-year period where everyone had the Persona 5 soundtrack in their videos. Popular non-video game music just can't be used in the same way because these labels are so copy strike happy. Your video even might get hit if you're playing the smallest clip of a popular song. In fact, I went out of my way to exclude non-video game music in this video for that very reason. This further isolates the video game music listener from non-video game music. Well, that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to explain why someone might prefer video game music, but I don't think there's anything wrong with just listening to video game music. Nevertheless, you should always try to branch out, make an effort to find music you like, regardless of where it comes from, and hey, if you can't, no biggie, you tried. Don't be shamed if you only like video game music. Anyone who makes fun of people doing that or calls them cringe are losers. There's nothing cringe about harmless enjoyment. Thank you so much for watching, and stream Takanaka.